Alright, how's it going, everyone? This is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know if I caught that, because I think I hit my microphone, but yeah, I'll have to repeat it again. No, this is financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. It's just a bunch of people talking about stocks. What's up, Vlad? How are you? Sorry for the late start. My wife was at a work function, so I had to put both kids to bed by myself. And Wen Moon. Woon Men. Oh, that's a new one. Thanks. I like that. Switch it up on me, huh? All right. I'm doing a whole bunch of things. Vlad's doing good. Earthium's wooning men. Chop, chop, chop. What's up, Valjean? What's up, Yes? How are you guys? Alright, so what am I supposed to be doing? I'm supposed to be grabbing this and posting it to Twitter. What's up, Random? What's up, BC? How are you guys? What's up, Jonathan? James, what's up, dude? Yeah, crazy stuff going on with BBIG too, right? I think this is the all-time low, isn't it? I think they're hitting an all-time low. They have left some nice little gaps, though. I will say that. So, anyone making money? Only when the printers go burr, right? Only when the printers go burr. It's a tough market right now. All right, so got a bunch of things to cover. I need to go and copy and paste this and put it on Twitter. Give me a second. Put it on Twitter. Kathy Wood of ARK just sold 1.1 million shares of Coinbase at all-time lows. Ugh. Average cost base on ARK was $254. Youch. That's pretty rough. Oh, what's up, Izzy? Yeah. Where do I? How do I? Yeah. I like the new name. I know you as Izzy, though. That's fine. I'll keep calling you that. Or if you want, I can address you as the new channel name. All right. So, got sidetracked. Let me post this stuff and delete. I come up with a better system. Maybe someday I will. But in the meantime, I'll just do this and talk to you guys until we get everybody in here, and then we can kind of start. Yeah, but pretty crazy with the BBAI or BBIG stuff. I mean, so some of you, I don't know if you guys remember this, but some of you guys were in the Discord when I was complaining about I didn't like the fact that Ted Farnsworth was attached to that, company. Because I remember him from MoviePass, and he cost a lot of people a lot of money with MoviePass. And I was like, basically, if you're smart, you just short anything that guy touches, and you probably be a multimillionaire. Because literally anything that guy gets involved with, it's like con artist stuff. So, your next goal is to find out whatever next project Ted Farnsworth is doing and just short it. And you'll become super rich. Like, I'm almost convinced he actually works with short hedge funds. He's like, I will convince them that I'm the smart guy. They'll let me in, and then I will screw up the entire company, and you guys pay me lots of money. Like, That's what it feels like with that guy. Nah, Izzy's cool. All right, cool. Farnsworth is the Jim Cramer. He's worse because he's like a CEO of a company. It's like a board of director CEO of companies, and he's like, Jim Cramer just parrots whatever they want him to. This guy basically like just screws up companies from the inside out. So like he's probably worse in a way. All right, so. But yeah, Kathy Wood taking a huge L on Coin. Did they sell Robinhood yet? Because that's one that I'm like, ugh. I should have shorted Robinhood. I knew that they were going to get dragged down, but I also thought that their buddies were going to support them over the long term, so keep them pumped up. But, I mean, their users have been dwindling, so they basically shot themselves in the foot after, you know, I think they thought that that was going to somehow, like, the best thing they could have done was just not shot themselves in the foot. Like, all right. But I mean, I think they literally were like over a barrel because I think they owed so much money and so many FTDs were piling up and like they couldn't cover them. Sorry, I'm thirsty. Why don't you create a separate note that you can cut and paste for Twitter? Yeah, I was going to say. Yo, Anna, have you ever seen Beavis and Butthead? Yeah, of course. I grew up with it. TP for my bunghole. I am that generation. I'm going to make an inverse Kramer. Someone actually already has an inverse Kramer ETF. Wood goes on like... I feel like she at least somewhat knows what she's doing. It's just, I think they gave her way too much credit during a bull market when all this tech stuff was booming. And then when things turned rough, that whole fund just took a huge L because it's all bleeding edge, like technology stuff. So, no lie, my Wi-Fi network name is TP for my bunghole. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, guys. All right. Yeah, Coinbase had been shorter for a while, but yeah, those guys did. Yeah, I'm going to try to remember that. Maybe what I should do is go back to my previous post on Twitter and just copy that, since I'm not really changing much. I just keep forgetting to. Oh, Ken Griffin is trending right now. Look at this. So in my trending, Ken Griffin is trending and BBIG is trending. Yeah, supposedly Zash also like tweeted at like 2 a.m. about like, hey, we raised all this money. How could we be like the bad guys? Yeah, like. I mean, these people have a good sense of humor. They are barcoding hard. Yeah, I mean, that's rough. Because they already had like a down like 20% day or something like that. It just. Yeah, short exempts are, they are what they are. But yeah, I mean, you can see, people are all up in arms. I mean, they have like what's the subreddit on that? They've got like, what, 25,000 people invested in that stock? I mean, I've got a couple shares. I'm not going to lie. I bought them as like a just in case. I was wrong about them. Bought like, $400 or $500 worth of BBIG at $2, and now that's looking pretty rough right now. Looking pretty rough. And I know people that were buying at like 12, so like that's super rough. But wow, what happened on Reddit? Oh, it's that guy. I'm like, why am I getting tagged so much? And it's because that blindside guy apparently was writing a lot. I don't know if you guys saw this, but some dude was apparently like claiming, I have apparently abandoned everyone. Did you guys know that? I have abandoned everyone. I don't stream every single night. I have abandoned all of you guys. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Okay. But anyway, let's go to BBIG because I just want to see real quick their subreddit. Okay. 27K. That's what it is. So they've got 27.4 thousand. Yeah, so like almost 27.5 thousand members. Like, so 27,500, like 400 something. And they also have these other, those are smaller, but that's a lot. It's a good amount. Yeah, I know. Blindside is a needy being that should trade Pokemon cards instead of stocks. I've abandoned. Was that the own drawer guy? I don't know. I mean, I feel like now I have to like write something on like Reddit. I did get a phone call from the lawyers though that on that project I was working on, and apparently I didn't like. I must have like. I thought I had everything, but they were like, "We still need these documents." I'm like, so I'm gonna have to scan stuff in tomorrow by myself, and then. So I don't know if I'll have time tomorrow to write the DD, but I'll try to get it out on probably Thursday, if I can. Just to, I need to like tie up a lot of the loose ends because like we don't have any information really that's new since the impairment and then the I think that was the last like new thing I wrote, which was probably like I don't know like a month ago. There's no new news that we have. Like there's nothing specifically happening on the stock, so I didn't feel the need to write every single day when there's no new news breaking. But apparently I need to sit there and post 10 times a day for everyone to think I didn't abandon the sub. Yeah, so profit margins right now are going to be the part that's going to be interesting because, like, we don't know, obviously. Like, we can guess that the margins have been going down because most of them have across the board for retail. So, that's going to be something, obviously, to watch and keep an eye on because, I do think that that's, one of their weak points is because everything's costing more. They're having to, obviously, and they're not passing it along to the customers, at least that I've seen. I have to look at their, like, if they've raised any prices on the stocks, but from what I remember, I don't think they wanted to remain like number one in all these categories. So basically what they've chosen to do is kind of stay the course, let some of the margins slip, but still remain at the top of those, things. So I get the name out there and all that kind of stuff. Ater's options change is looking pretty weak since they want warrants. Well, I mean, your average person can't buy warrants. They sold those warrants through a private placement. So those warrants go directly to investors. No, I haven't talked about Dave yet, but I will talk about Dave because I told Dirty that I was going to go ahead and cover that tonight. Probably should have added that to my. Can I do that live? I wonder if I can edit this and update. You can put out Dave if you guys want. Dave. I'll put it in here too. All right, there we go. Who is Dave? Dave's a ticker. But yeah, we'll go over that in a second. I just wanted to kind of catch up, but let me just finish this thought. So basically with Aterian's options chain, because options right now are so cheap, I think a lot of people are stacking them for January 2023 and I think 2024 because the options price difference isn't that much and you get a full year of theta. That's what I'd say. Sam, I promise we'll get to you. So Aterian short interest reported 9.5 million. Someone from the Discord posted. I just wanted to confirm it. Yeah, so let me pull up. So we should be able to go to FINRA because I like going straight to the sources. Like I think that gives you a better, FINRA data. So I'm going to put in FINRA by monthly short interest. Yeah, so for all you guys that have never seen it, this is basically, if you go to FINRA's website, or you can Google like FINRA short interest reporting. They give you a schedule, so you can tell when the date should be coming out, right? So like here's 2022 short reporting, and we're in July, and then should have came out Tuesday the 26th, right there. Yeah. So, but what we wanted to see is the numbers. Okay. So Ortex should have them as well by now because it came out today. So if we type in Aterian, okay. Let's see if they updated them. Yeah, there you go. So they're back up to the. So this number will change probably tomorrow. They have been shorting more. Because you can see from the reports at least. They did short more here. So this is growing. The cost to borrow actually has risen. I think the average right now is about 60. So it's between 50 and 84 is the max. So roughly around 60 has been kind of like the average cost to borrow, which has been going up slightly. It's going to run again. Like, it's the funny thing about these things is we know for a fact that these things run in cycles. And it's now saying it's 94%. This happens every once in a while. It dips down for a second, and then like a day or two later it goes. So that's the one thing I have noticed about Ortex. It's gotten a little funky about like they'll do like 2 or 3 days without like being 100% and they'll jump back up on this thing. But we did have this long stretch from March 8th until June 24th. Then you had some wavering here. Then it was 100% again. 60 to borrow is cheap? No, it's not really. Like, for example, I mean, it all depends on your perspective. So if like you go to Apple and you go to a cost to borrow, their cost to borrow is like 0.05 average. the max is 1.9. The minimum, they don't even, negative is what they're claiming, but that's not correct. You know, you go to like a Tesla. You look at these cost of borrows. So no, 60 is not cheap. Like any normal stock, like even like, let's go to Walmart, right? Walmart's less than 1%. So 60% is not cheap. Is cost to borrow what causes short to cover? No, it just adds a little bit of pressure. Because it starts cutting into their profits, basically. So imagine this, like whatever you're doing is like when you're lending out shares, right, and you're charging interest on them, right? That's how some people make money. Like, you know, these large corporations, they lend out their shares, blah, 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 right? The next thing that they would deal with then is, like, from a shorts perspective, you have to think, okay, so you have to pay a certain amount per, you know, basically, like, it's a yearly, you know, thing. It's annualized. Yeah, exactly. They pay 60% annualized. So imagine, like, your credit card, which is like 24%. 60% would be a lot. You'd be complaining if you had a 60% annualized on your credit card. But these guys make money off this by shorting stuff down, so obviously it's profitable, but it cuts into their profit margins, which at some point it starts outweighing if it makes sense or not to keep the position. So, yeah, the higher it is. Like, if, for example, if you go to Tblt, right? Tblt, we know their cost to borrow right now is super high because they've been shorting a ton, and so these guys are gouging. Basically, the people that are holding shares are gouging the shorts because they need these shares immediately to basically keep the price from running. But there's going to be dilution on this stock. So yeah, 60 is lower than obviously 400%, or sorry, 374% as an average. But at the same time, this will quickly go down once dilution happens. So Ater had stuff like this back when it was running. So. I don't know, some moon market penny stock guy was giving the whole thing about how less than 90 is not a lot. It's all perspective. Like, here's the thing. When you're dealing with who's on the other side of these trades, these guys have billions of dollars. So paying, like, look at this. On Tblt, look at the estimated cost, right? Even though this seems like a lot, they're only doing it on 28 million shares. Or sorry, not even that. They're doing it on, what was it, 2 million shares, 5 million shares. So you do that cost to borrow on just 5 million shares, it's only costing them $28 million. Like, I just want to put that in perspective for you guys. So $28 million when you have billions, you know, under your control is a tiny amount. So just because this is 400% to cost to borrow, if it's only on 5 million shares, it doesn't mean jack. The last time you said dilution on Redbox at 3, I missed the run to 18. Yeah, I mean, once again, that was until they basically removed the warrants. So there was dilution. They pushed it up, and then at that point they claimed the merger. And so once the merger went on the table, it actually started running because the merger basically took away the warrants. Izzy, if you remember that. So, and I actually told you guys I was buying in on it once I realized that the warrants were gone. I made money, and then I shorted it, or I didn't short it, but I bought puts on it when they still had puts. And I still actually have those puts right now. Yeah, no. So the annual stockholder meeting was literally a formality. It was basically just to, like, get business approved. That's not the real, like, the earnings call is the one that you want to listen to. Yeah, stockholder meetings are basically non-events. Goat's right. So that's not concerning at all. You want to listen to the actual earnings call, because those ones, they actually have like investors and also like institutions who are basically answering questions and asking questions. So like they'll have a chance to ask Yaniv and the IR guys and whoever else, the CFO, and if he's on the call, they'll have a chance to actually talk to those guys. So you want to listen in on the earnings meetings, never the you can listen in on the annual stockholder meeting, but like it was literally just like, yeah, this is the order of business, and then they approved it, and then they're ready to go. Yeah, it's all dependent, but I was going to say in Aterian's case, no, those are non-events. It's the earnings you want to pay attention to. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Izzy, if you didn't hear that, I did cover that in a YouTube video where I was like, okay, so they did take away the warrants, and then I actually showed you guys that, all right, if they were going to take away these warrants, and the numbers at that point were getting insane, so it made sense. But I told people you have to protect yourself, and so I started actually buying puts once it ran, and once they started taking away options, especially, that's when it was like, okay, this thing's gonna fall. So. But I think I bought my first one I bought a put at 17 or 16 or 17, I think, and I bought another one at 13, and I had to sell the $16 ones, but I still have these the $13 ones. So I'm not really worried about, like, as soon as they announce the merger details, that stock's going to basically pennies. So just watch out for that. All right, let's get to some of these things. And now I've got to take notes again. Let me pull up my notepad real quick. Come on, where did I put it? No, I don't want maps. Come on. Here we go. Text, notepad. All right. So what we're trying to do is we're going to try to keep track of the timestamps. So we're going to do the first one at 27:50. All right, 27:50. Roughly. Okay, so we were going to cover Dave, right? So people wanted to see Dave. Dave Inc. Right? So this is one everyone's been kind of buzzing about. I don't know if you guys have seen, but Dirty's been trying to get me to cover this one for a while, so we'll take a look at this and just, give an honest perspective, and we'll just go from there. So let me pull. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I need to do? I just realized it. Hold on one second. Okay, here we go. All right. So we need to go to Dilution Tracker. Our buddies always come up with good stuff there, and that's always where I start, because it kind of gives me at least so they haven't. Dilution may not matter for this one. All right. Technology. So Dave Inc. engages in development of financial mobile apps to prevent overdraft protection. Prevent overdrafts. Finding side gives. Dave Banking. Founded in 2017 in LA. Okay. Is there news going on for this thing? Obviously, it's one of these that's been beat down. There's been a couple of these things. They started out, they've kind of chopped around, and then they've gotten some large volume spikes here. And that's obviously interesting. They're going to announce second quarter results on August 11th. So let me just make sure I'm not missing anything from Dirty up here. But he had asked me to cover Dave. Let's make sure. Is it Dave? Am I going crazy? Okay, here we go. So he wanted me to look at this thing. So recently reported first quarter earnings in March boosted revenue guidance with a huge membership jump. The stock ran from 4 to 10 in March and it's been downhill since, debuting at $4 billion market cap. It's fallen to a measly $200 million. He thinks that this play has a potential upside because its price is only 57 cents. This was as of 11 hours ago. So let's pull up the ticker real quick. I'm going to do a single. Okay, so started out. Yeah, it's dropped below $1. So let's give credit to Vegetable Resource 204 for this DD. It's down 93%. Let's see. 50% retracement to its highs would be a 10x. Let's see. Also backed by Mark Cuban since IPO. This is a potential buyout target. Eventually the company will have to be saved from this over-exaggerated drop. There's no material news for this, even though the market turn it should not be down 94% is what he claims. Dave has 6.5 million members. SoFi has 3.5, and it's got a 5.66 billion market cap. The CEO says the numbers completed on average, blah, blah, blah. Let me see this, if there's anything to this. All right, so they've got $300 million in cash, long-term debt. Current market cap is basically trading at cash. Okay. So, let's take a look again, knowing that. So we know, let me pull up. So we know it's been going down. Tiger Global holds 13 million shares of this. BlackRock's got less than the 1%. Is Tiger Global? I think they are aren't they like the Tiger Cubs? Aren't they part of that? They're Global. Isn't that where Bill Wang came from? Yeah, it is. Yeah, so they called them Tiger Cubs. So he's been an investor in Tiger Global since 2007. It was Tiger Asia was the thing that he was coming in there for. Have I met the CEO in real life? No, I've never talked to actually Yaniv. The only person I've talked to from the company so far has been Illyria, I think, or Leah. I don't know how to pronounce it. I forgot. It's been a while since we've talked. Ilya, maybe. Ilya. I think it's ILYA. Ilya, I think that's probably right. He's the only one I've talked to. He's their investor relations director. So, so far that's the only interactions I've ever had with the company is when I set up a phone call with them and basically asked questions on behalf of retail. But yeah, I've never talked to anyone else inside the company. All right, so back to Dave. All right, so not a ton of institutional ownership. Interesting enough, Tiger Global is the one that's part of them, but I think Bill Wang's from Tiger Asia, maybe. I don't know if they have any connections between the two, but all right. So let's look at their 10Q, right? Because we always want to verify. Like, it's good and great to hear people write stuff on Reddit, but at the same time, all right. So the number of shares outstanding on Dave Inc. is 323 million. Oh, sorry. Number of outstanding shares for Class A. The number of outstanding shares of Class V. Okay. That's a weird. They didn't go to Class B. They went all the way to Class V. Strange. Okay. So big, float. All right. So what did he claim in that DD? He claimed it was how much cash? 300 million in cash. That's not true. Well, okay, they have marketable securities, so that's not cash. Like, that's like literally like marketable securities are not the same thing as cash. Like, yes, you can liquidate them, but like, I don't know about that. I think that's a stretch calling it cash. Cash is cash. It's physical, like liquid that you can, buy and sell anytime. So I don't really think that's a fair thing to say is considered cash. So I disagree with the Redditor there. He's saying it has, for liabilities, he said, I'm trying to find it. Sorry. Here we go. So, blah, 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 blah. 300 million cash, and that's not true. Long-term debt at 135. Okay. Long-term debt facility, convertible debt long-term. That's about 135. He said 130. No, 135. Okay. So that's fine. He doesn't mention the other parts, though. Because your total liabilities is 13 million. You also have a ton of shares plus common V's, another 48 million. So like, technically have a positive shareholder equity, but like, you do have a decent amount of debt and a lot of shares, though. It's a lot of shares. All right. So they took a net loss. So that's not great. They didn't mention that, obviously. Total cash equivalents. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to bore you guys. I'm doing this on the fly. Like, if I was, like, really, seriously thinking about buying this, I would read the entire thing. I might tomorrow, but, like, at this point right now, I'm not going to sit here and bore everyone with reading through a 10K. But do they have warrants? I think they do have warrants. Yeah. Companies Class A, well, Dave, and warrants to purchase The warrants have an exercise price at $11.50. So the warrants are not anywhere near here. So that's fine. The warrants are at $11.50 to get exercise. So that's fine. Okay. Yeah, so I'd have to really kind of deep dive into this, but can it move? Sure, it can move. Still a lot of shares outstanding. Let's take a look at a couple things. Let's take a look at utilization. Utilization's plummeted with the price. If they got retail's attention over the last couple of days, sure, it could move. On loans been going down. Free float on loans been going down. What's the cost to borrow been? Is it rising? It's starting to go back up again, but once again, it's only like 20%. Yeah, Class V could be basically the concept where you have first rights to money if the company goes under, but you don't have voting rights. I didn't read through, but that could be one of those ones like that. All right, what's FTDs doing? So it's not even a lot of FTDs. It's not on threshold. Yeah, I think someone's trying to pump this, to be honest with you. I think someone's trying to pump it because it's just oversold. Like, the short interest isn't even that high. It's just a stock that's got tons and tons of shares, therefore making shares worth under $1. Like, to remain compliant, they're going to have to pump it up to at least $1 or do a reverse split. I would probably lean towards this could be running towards a reverse split rather than a squeeze. Like, the short interest has been pretty solid across here, but there's tons of shares. So, like, I don't see anything super special here. You're shorted less than like 3% of the float. Utilization's down. Cost of borrow is down. Even shares on loan is down. Like, could this thing naturally move back up to over $1? Sure. To remain compliant, I'm sure they'll try to do that. But it's like not like someone's keeping the price down, actively with like 25 or 30 or 50% short interest. This thing's just beat down. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to get into this, I would read through the entire 10Q. To me, it doesn't seem that interesting. At least, if Reddit gets a hold of it, that's fine. But like, you're basically squeezing blood out of a stone here because like 3% short interest, you don't have a lot of institutional ownership, and to be honest with you, like, unless they have some sort of like thing, they look like they're okay on paper. They're probably oversold just right now in general, but like, they have a ton of shares outstanding, so there's been a good amount of dilution that's already probably happened. So, okay, yeah. So that's Dave. All right, BBBY. We haven't done that in a while. Oh, dude, Tilray. We need to get Tilray. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you guys. If you guys like, if you like Dave, invest in it. Maybe they can turn it around. They're probably oversold, so you might be able to make a good chunk on just like a reversal play. But all right. What's the next one we're gonna do? Tilray, right? Someone said they wanted to cover Tilray. Here we go. I need to get the timestamp. Okay, timestamp will be roughly 45. Alright, 45, we're doing Tilray, right? Because you guys like Tilray and those weed stocks, right? Alright. What are we doing? Tilray, right? Okay, Tilray getting beat down. Here we go. Alright. So Tilray right now, just taking a look. Got earnings coming up. I have no idea about the earnings, so I'm not going to speculate on that. What I can do, though, is just kind of cover the basics. So let's start with dilution tracker. We'll do Tilray. Dilution may not matter for this one. Institutions own about 8.4% of it. Short interest is at least 14.6%. Is there any news or PR that's came out? Tilray Medical launches cannabis education platform across Europe. They potently Canadian cannabis brand. They joins the year, blah, blah, Stampede, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what that. Maybe these things matter to other people, but... all right, so let's take a look at who holds it. Etf Managers, that's a weird name. Susquehanna has a small stake in them. Morgan Stanley's got a small, less than 1% stake. Bank of America, Goldman Sachs. This is probably just like YOLO money for them. These like BlackRocks and these Bank of Montreal, like buy 1 million shares at like, you know, $3 and hope it pans out down the future. Let's take a look. Filings. All right. So because we didn't see any warrants on dilution tracker. All right. So proceeds from payments from warrants and options exercise. So I would think then they have warrants then. So it looks like these MedMen can turn into to acquire Class B shares. Okay. Warrants outstanding. Here we go. So they do have warrants, it looks like, at 308, about 166 of them. Well, hold on. It's saying the expiration date on that was for September 26, 2021. That's already passed. These $9 ones, they look like they've already passed as well. And it looks like the ones, though, for $5.95 are still open. So about 12 million warrants total. Okay. So yeah, they still have some warrants, it looks like. Just eyeballing it, but... Alright. So... I mean, let's take a look at their actual balance sheet, though. See how they've done this last quarter. I mean, cash is down across the board. Accounts receivable is up. That's good. Inventory is slightly higher. That's okay. Prepaids are fine. They've slightly grown. Current assets is down, though, from previously. They did have, obviously, more cash back in the last quarter of last year. So besides that, though, let's take a look at. They've made some long-term investments here. Everything else remains roughly the same. This is slightly lower, slightly lower. Okay, so total liabilities. Basically the same. The current liabilities has gone down. That's actually a good thing. They do have 480 shares issued and outstanding, respectively. So that's obviously a lot. So they've gone through dilution before, obviously. Okay. So net income is improved. Yeah. So it's really going to depend on this earnings, because if this earnings comes out and they beat on stuff, you'll see the stock run higher. Let's take a look at Tilray's short interest. Okay. So, is it past midnight or something? No, it's only 10:50. It said yesterday, for whatever reason. So they have gone slightly up on the shorting. Sorry. When will cannabis get fully legalized? That's the question. If you knew that, then you'd be able to time some of these marijuana stocks. I don't know, because I think, if I remember correctly, there was a good amount of opposition still at the federal level. I mean, I don't see an issue with it. People want to smoke, let them smoke and tax it, and, make sure they don't drive on it or something. I don't know. I know there's some issues that can come with it, but at the same time, it also can make you a good amount of money for some of these, poorer states. You legalize it, then you could grow it all over the place, and states like West Virginia might be real, start growing stuff in that wild mountains and stuff, and I don't know, just a thought. But yeah, tax it and make money off it, and I don't see what the big issue is, but I know some people think it's, I don't know. I was a child that when I was being raised, they still had DARE. If you guys, I don't know if some of you guys know what DARE is. Like, I had to go through the DARE program in my school, and honestly, I think it made kids want to do drugs more. All right. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Just so if any of you younger guys or you older people that didn't grow up with this was like a big... Yeah. To resist drugs and violence. They did this all throughout the, 80s and 90s in the U.S., and they had cops come to schools, and kids would wear these shirts, and Brave Lion, who would, yeah. Was it Darren the Lion or something? I don't remember what his name was. Oh, is it Darren? Yeah. Did I subconsciously pick that up? Darren the Dare Lion. Yeah. But anyway, back to stocks. Okay. All right. So, yeah, with Tilray, I think it's going to be really dependent on their earnings. So, I can't really give you too much. I mean, obviously, anything over 15% short is pretty high short. percentage. That's just my opinion as far as that goes. Yeah, and if legalization comes out in the U.S. at any point, this stock and other stocks like this will take a nice big increase because, they've all been waiting for it. It's just a matter of time. It's like when. Trying to time it, though, is hard. So, but that would open up a ton of new revenue for these types of stocks. All right, sorry. I got bit by a mosquito or something. All right. What do we need to cover? Days of Weird Play. All right, so somebody wants to talk about, is it Cetin? Cetin? Cetin. Cetin?